Corey Haim's career had a promising start, and though he had a rough few decades, things were once again looking up for the former teen heartthrob. Sadly, it was then that everything came crashing down. Actor Corey Haim's death on March 10, 2010 came at the end of a long history of drug addiction. Like many child stars, his time spent growing up in the spotlight and the pressures and temptations of a life in show business left permanent marks on his mind and body. Best known for roles in 80s movies like Silver Bullet, Lucas, and The Lost Boys, Haim became a standout upcoming star and heartthrob. Sadly, drugs got in the way of what should have been a storied career. Haim started drinking beer on the set of Lucas and quickly transitioned to weed, cocaine, crack, and more. By the mid-90s, he was already out of the spotlight, and as he said in a 2007 interview on Larry King Live, "I think I have an addiction to pretty much everything. I mean, I have to be very careful with myself as far as that goes, which is why I have a support group around me consistently." However, it wasn't even drugs that would take Haim's life. His coroner's report states that his official cause of death was diffuse alveolar damage, or DAD, which is a type of pneumonia-induced lung swelling. He was in the middle of a fairly clean phase of his life, and things were looking up.
I just take things slower and I have a different way of going to bed now and waking up.
This is a much stronger, healthier, determined Corey than the Corey that I knew.
Sadly, it was during this positive upswing that tragedy struck. Haim's coroner's report illustrates the actor's day in disturbing detail. He'd been sick, but his mother Judy, with whom he was living with at the time, thought he was getting better. He developed a fever and severe headache on March 9th, and his breathing became, quote, short and fast. He went to bed at 4:30 p.m., got up at 12:30 a.m., wandered toward the bathroom and kitchen, collapsed, and started to shake. When Haim arrived at the hospital shortly after 1 a.m., he had no pulse. Doctors defibrillated him, put a tube in his throat, gave him a saline drip, and his pulse returned by 1:38. When CPR stopped at 1:58, he started to fade again. By 2:15 a.m., he was officially pronounced dead. Despite his history of substance abuse, Haim's autopsy report says that drugs were not the cause of his death. There was evidence of THC in his body, and in the autopsy reports, his mother confirmed that he might have had some cannabis 2 days prior to his death. Haim also had a lot of non-prescription and prescription medicine in his system, though they were all legally obtained and there was no evidence that he'd been abusing them or had suicidal intentions. That being said, Haim did have some existing physical issues that may or may not have contributed to the DAD that ultimately killed him. According to the investigator's narrative, he was a smoker and may have had high blood pressure. He'd been diagnosed with a heart murmur years prior, and as a diagram on his autopsy report illustrates, one of the blood vessels in his heart had narrowed by upwards of 60%. Despite these health complications, many people were shocked by the star's passing given his sobriety. According to CNN, Haim's neighbor reported that the actor had put on healthy weight in the days leading up to his death. In between the 80s and his 2010 passing, Haim had gotten up to 300 pounds, then dropped to 150, then built back up to a solid 200, which his coroner's report says was his weight at the time of his death. They also stated that Haim could be seen walking around his apartment complex, quote, looking for friends. One of his oldest friends, his The Lost Boys co-star Corey Feldman, was especially struck by Haim's passing. In a very personal statement, Feldman told CNN, "My eyes weren't even open all the way when the tears started streaming down my face. I'm so sorry for Corey, his mother Judy, his family, my family, all of our fans, and of course my son, who I will have to find a way to explain this to when he gets home from school." Haim's death takes on yet another tragic note due to his infatuation with the late James Dean. According to the Los Angeles Times, Haim once said of the late actor, "Dean made only 3 movies and he's such a legend. People think he's so brilliant, he was so raw. I just want to be known like Dean was known. I just want people to think that I'm really, really good." Unfortunately, one of the many things Dean and Haim had in common was a tragic early passing. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.